Thank you, Mohammed, and thank you all for being here. As Mohammed mentioned, we are here to talk about a very important and critical issue that is very timely and very historic, and that is comprehensive immigration reform and the stance of some of our elected officials vis-a-vis that opportunity, and indeed it is an opportunity. I introduced most of our speakers a little while ago. We're also joined by one of our key leaders, Osama Jamal, who is a vice president and former president of the Mosque Foundation, and also the president of Mass Space, which is a civic action and participation organization of the Muslim American Society. Comprehensive immigration reform is a very simple but profound idea. Today we're here because Senator Mark Kirk has been elusive and unclear, and indeed he has not made any public statements to suggest where he stands on this issue. And that to us is simply unacceptable. As far as we see it, elected officials are in Washington, sent by the people, to represent their constituents, their dreams, aspirations, and expectations, not themselves. It is unacceptable that elected officials be silent on this crucial issue at this historic juncture. Senator Kirk, amongst others, like every official, owes his constituents full transparency as to his position on immigration reform. We hope it is the right one. We hope he will support it. We hope he will help fix a broken system and help move this great nation forward to a new era of functionality and opportunity. There is no alternative to reform. And so, Senator Kirk, we call on you as a Muslim community, amongst many other communities of Chicago, the Latino community, the Polish community, the Russian community, the Jewish community, the Catholic community, pretty much all of the communities of Chicago, new immigrants, generational immigrants, and everything in between. We call on you to give us what is owed to us, which is a clear voice, clear leadership to support this crucial initiative to fix the broken immigration system with immigration reform. We understand your concerns about border security. We are at our best point ever in terms of border security. And even if there are concerns, that ought not be a reason to not support immigration reform with whatever amendments or whatever suggestions on border security that he can offer. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ahmed. Second, I'd like to ask Rima Ahmed from the Asian Americans Advancing Justice in Chicago to come and speak.
Thank you. In addition to all the other communities that you mentioned, the Asian American community is also one that is calling upon Senator Kirk to support comprehensive immigration reform this year. Senator Kirk, your Asian American constituents, which represent the largest, I should say the fastest growing communities here in Illinois, are calling on you to support our brothers and our sisters, our families, by passing comprehensive immigration reform this year. This past November, the Asian American community, both nationally as well as right here in Illinois, voted for the Democrats by over 70%, sending a clear message that if you mess with our families, we will not support you as our leader and our representative in Congress. Our families and the immigration channels that enable them to be reunited and join us here are the very reasons for the thriving small businesses that crowd our communities, from Devon to Argyle to Chinatown. A vote for CAIR is a vote in favor of our U.S. economy and the hardworking family values with which our great nation was founded. We are counting on you, Senator Kirk. Support immigration reform this year so we can support you and your colleagues in the next election cycle. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima. Our next speaker I'd like to call for is Mr. Syed Shanawaz Khan from the Downtown Islamic Center and CIOGC. They come to you.
Assalamu alaikum. CIOGC, along with the Downtown Islamic Center, of course, support the Senate Bill 744, and we urge Senator Kirk to support this bill, and we urge him to make his decisions not on snapshot accounting tactics which people use to scare us, rather base the decisions on sound economic judgment. As we know, the mainstream economists agree that the results of this bill would be a net positive gain for the USA. I'd like to quote a quote from Tony Blair, who says, "A simple way to take measure of a country is to look at how many people want in and how many people want out." Another quote from Marilyn Albright. She says, "I'm a beneficiary of the American people's generosity. And I hope and we can have comprehensive immigration legislation that allows this country to continue to be enriched by those who were not born here." We all know the contribution of Marilyn Albright. So this is there's a lot at stake for the immigration population. 11 million people, so many families within it, and the aspirations and hopes of these people. So we cannot let them down as human beings, and the council urges Senator Kirk to really support this bill. In conclusion, we want the senator to look at the immigrants as the makers, not as takers. And we like him to remember the immigrants as the immigrants. We want him to remember that as the immigrants move in, America moves up. So please, Senator, help this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to ask Ms. Karen Danielson from Mass Peace to come and speak. Pace.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Karen Danielson. I'm the director of the chapter for Mass PACE, which is the Muslim American Society of Public Affairs and Civic Engagement here in Chicago. Our participation today is twofold. First, to indicate in no uncertain terms our support of the immigration reform bill, which is setting forth a path for citizenship for up to 11 million people in our country. Our faith tells us that we should want for others what we want for ourselves, and any system that does not address these issues of immigration is not acceptable. We must work towards a just and equitable manners of governance in regard to immigration reform. This bipartisan immigration reform bill passed by the Senate Judiciary Committee is a remarkable turn of events in the right direction, and we are proud to witness this long-awaited change in our country. Secondly, we would like to address another issue at hand, and that is our elected officials in Washington must vote to move in favor of these reforms. In particular, our Illinois Senator Mark Kirk must recognize his constituency here and our support towards immigration reform, and he should not remain silent any longer. It is our privilege to be joining our partners today, CAIR and others, and we will continue to stand in solidarity because the job is not done with just this reform bill, but there is much work laying ahead. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, I'd like to call Mr. Osama Jamal from Mosque Foundation and also Mass Pace.
Assalamu alaikum. The Muslim community stands with our nation in demanding a reform for our immigration law. A nation like America is a nation of immigrants, and therefore fixing our broken system is a must. And therefore we ask Senator Mark Kirk to support State Bill 744, which is immigration reform. This bill is to provide citizen path for those who have been undocumented in this country. Over 10 million people who have been undocumented in the United States, who contribute to the economic strength and growth of this country. And therefore a solution needs to be made in order to fix this broken immigration system. And therefore a collective leadership in Washington has to come and resolve this issue for the American people, because this is a serious issue that we cannot overlook, nor we can play politics with. This is the future of America, and the future of America deserves the best. Thank you.
I just want to thank all of our speakers again for joining us today, and thank you all.
you've seen, there's pretty much a comprehensive support for comprehensive immigration reform from the Muslim community, as well as from many other communities. With us also is representative of the Asian community, the Latino community, every other community stands together on this issue. At this point, I'd like to ask if any of you have any questions or comments. So I'll turn it to you guys.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because I do support immigration reform. You hear a lot of talk about, well, the U.S. doesn't have the logistical capacity to start documenting these 11 million citizens. Do you have any response to that or anything to address on that subject?
Well, the alternative to that is to do what? You don't have the logistical capacity to document them. You don't have the logistical capacity to deport them, certainly. So just maintain a broken system. It's unacceptable. This isn't America, the country that took humans on the moon, that went into the depths of the ocean, that created the macro camera, that can see the galaxy, and the micro, that can see the cells. That kind of nation, that kind of inventiveness and imagination. To me, it's an unacceptable and unrealistic and dishonest suggestion to say that